Oh, hi everyone, it's Jackie. I've seen a lot of questions on here recently about what do people use their junk journals for. I've made a lot of journals over the years. I used to make mini albums and they mainly have photographs in them. And I got into junk journals a few years ago when I did a Mary Ann Moss course called I think it was called Remains of the Day, and what a revelation that was. It was brilliant, and since then I've used junk journals as my scrapbooks. I've made so many. I've got quite a few that probably will end up for sale or gifts, but I thought, as I said, that I'd show you how I do use them myself. This is the first one I'm going to show you. There are some further back down my timeline on YouTube. If you want to take a look, you just need to scroll down and you'll see junk journals down there. Mine tend to be a bit plainer than the ones I do for sale or swap mainly. They're more finished with more tuck spots and pretty ephemera and tags and such like. Anyway, I think I've only got 10 minutes on this camera, so I'm going to try and speed through a bit. I'll probably stumble over my words, but we'll see. So I do always end up putting a few charms, or just lately I've been doing tassels and things, which I've seen obviously lots of people do on YouTube. This is quite a thick book. It's a good 2 inches and it's 6x9. It's got card covers, fairly thin actually in this case, and it's tied with just a bit of sari ribbon. And this is the sort of thing I do in them. I do tab pages, so I have extra pages in. This particular one has got the first sort of quarter of it, or a bit more, is a holiday we took in the States, and it is actually in this case in order, so you can see my pages are collaged. That's stuck, but there's photographs in there, flip outs, writing, washi tape, things I've collected that are clipped in. Probably these days I'd put a charm on something like this, but I haven't done it on this one. These journals were made with scrapbook paper and actually a lot of junk, stuff that would be thrown away. Pictures from, I think this is a geographic machine, so I put some extra photographs in, but I've just tipped these in, made a little booklet, because I don't want to cover that lovely photograph up, or magazine picture up. There are tags. I've obviously made a few pockets in this one, so there's extra stuff on there that I've collected from a place called Pea Ridge in Arkansas, which we had a great day out at. When I put this book together originally, I made the centre of the signatures with a brochure from the Scilly Isles, which are some islands off Cornwall here in the UK that we've visited a few times and that we love. So my American holiday is interrupted by some brochure pages from the Scilly Isles, but I don't really care about that. Doesn't worry me that it's not in any sort of order. So here's an envelope. I've put a card in there with some writing on. This is a receipt. It's very faded. Different places we went. So I'm going to try and go through this fairly quickly. You can see that we went to Memphis while we were travelling with them, and restaurants we went to. Yours truly. My hair's a lot shorter than that now. And of course we had to go to Graceland, so there's quite a bit in here about Graceland. Shopping, and back on the lake and the boat, in the boat, which was probably the best bit really. So let's see what we do when we get to the end of the American holiday. We did a lot in 2 weeks and it was all rather marvellous. We stayed with friends. That's the end of Arkansas, so that's taken up 3. It's actually 3/4 of the book. I didn't realise that. 3/4 of the 4 signatures. And then I've gone back to scrapbooking my other memories in the rest of this signature. So there's, for example, I think this is a letter from a great aunt that she sent me in 1973. Probably a card from her, and I've just used one of these pocket things to put those in. just stuck on there. That's a much more recent trip we made this year to the theatre. Cards and photographs, Christmas tree, wedding of my best friend, 1979. What's this? This is somewhere we went in January. It's a drawing I did as a teenager. I don't know what they are. Probably poems I wrote. You don't want to know about those. I was a very morbid teenager. Riding holiday. This is the pony I rode. This is a Christmas card that a friend watercoloured for us last year, which I think is gorgeous. Thank you, Nikki. More letters. It's a little letter that my brother, who's now in his 50s, wrote me when he was about 9, and he sent me a few pennies as a present. It's quite sweet. And that's the end of that one. So I think I've used up most of my time, so I'm just going to quickly show you this next one, which again, it's got some pretty charms on the back. Again, I've just tied it with, this is thicker chipboard that I've made the covers with. And again, there's a mixture of little bits of artwork, outings, a bit of collaging I was trying, the dog, places we've been, me as a baby. Don't know why I wanted that in there. Different things I've done on the internet. This was the Documented Life project, I think that was called. Stamps I've used, bought and tried out. Some of my crochet blankets. I like making those in the evening. My son is a little boy. Anyway, let's just flick through because I don't want to run out of... This is a menu from that gorgeous hotel that we go to on the Scilly Isles, or at least have been to. We don't go anymore, it's a bit expensive. Flower fairies, everybody loves a flower fairy. Dog licking the dishwasher, that's fairly revolting, sorry about that. It's a tag I made that I've used, put in the paper bag, which I've bound into this particular journal. See, I do write, and this one actually has still got some, in fact it's got plenty of space for writing, so there may be more to come in this particular journal, although, as you will see in a second, I have started another one. This is when I used to work in the library. We used to have a lot of dressing up. Bit mad really, but there you go. And this is the latest one of my own, and I haven't actually decorated the spine yet on this one, and I haven't put the ties in. I've done eyelets this time for the ties. Oops, upside down, there we go. This one I've used a slightly different approach. It's a little bit simpler and less cluttered, and obviously I did put a few pockets in. I've still stamped new stamps and popped those in. This is a little corner in my house that I particularly like. My own artworks there. The rest of my house doesn't look like that at all. And this book definitely flits about from something we went to see this year. My great niece who visited, she loves our little dog. This then goes back to 1976. This is my husband's grandmother enjoying herself. It's a bit about the royal wedding. A 1977 brochure for something my sister sang in. Tickets for a cricket match we went to, and I journal a bit about it. Some old photographs. This is my mum and her sister. Outdated passports. This is my son's weight card, and I've just clipped that in. This was a lino cutting workshop I went to. It was supposed to be a hare, but the prints, I don't know, seems like it was more of a donkey in the end. It wasn't really very successful, I'm afraid. It's my dad walking the dog, skiing holiday. This is my great grandmother. I've done a bit of stitching on there. I'm sort of just practicing layering and all the wonderful things that I see people doing on the YouTubes. This little handkerchief that same great aunt that was in the other book gave me. I was going to use this and cut it up, but I couldn't actually bear to do that, so that's in there. This was a workshop that I went on earlier this year with Marta, France, Papillon and Finibert, which was wonderful. And that's another great niece and nephew. And then there's a few other things dotted through. This was a view out of, we went to St Ives this time last year, that's a fishing village in Cornwall. And I think I've run out, or about to run out, so I won't finish this, but hopefully that'll give you a really good idea of how I like to use these journals. Less writing, more photographs. So my next video will be a more finished looking journal. So hope to see you then. Bye bye.